Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. It's Manchester United against Leeds. It's an early one this Sunday, but hopefully an early one can set the day up nice. It's Man United's first game of 2026 as well, I think. I think it is. It is our first game of 2026. So let's hope we can turn a new corner with a fresh 3 points for Manchester United. Don't know that I think that I'm massively confident about that, but it's a big game for Leeds. It's a big game for Manchester United. And look, the first thing I want to do is put this team up on the screen and react to that, because I don't think we can have many complaints. I mean, also, look, we've got a lot of things to talk about in relation to what came out from Amorim's embargoed press conference last night. I mean, what I would say is all those people that were trying to make out that the article in the Daily Mail was not true. I think you've got to obviously, eat your words and say, well, it clearly was true, because they've very, very clearly fallen out. Wilcox and Amorim, and I think fortunately in this community, we've been pointing the finger at Wilcox and Barada and the ownership for the last few days, and I think that finger for me points even closer, because having a manager saying that he's had to abandon his principles because he's not been backed. You might not like the manager and you might not like the principles, but this is I think this is the end of the road for Amorim. And I think we're stuck with the Pratt. I think we're stuck with Wilcox. And Wilcox will be very excited about today because he is a Leeds legend. He played for Leeds. So, conflicting issues for the ex-Leeds player, used to play for Leeds, Jason Wilcox, our director of football who used to play for Leeds. So, I know what side I'm on. Hopefully we can get a win. I do agree with the chat, by the way. I very nearly tweeted it myself. I feel like these are the sort of games that Cunha last season was winning for Wolves. So I know some people are very negative that we're going to get beat. I predicted a draw on my Premier League prediction show on That's Football with Robbie. And I think that, this is exactly what Cunha was doing for Wolves last season. He was getting them points in games like this. So I agree with the Cunha masterclass comments. But look, with regards to the team, I've seen a few people trying to sort of manipulate it into a back four. All I'm going to say is, and this is just my opinion, I'd be very, very surprised if we're playing a back four. It might mould into a back four, but Leeds play a front two. They're at home. They're a very energetic side. I cannot see us, with the lack of midfield, which we always have, and attacking options, I cannot see us trying to take the game to Leeds at Ellen Road and playing a back four. I just can't see it. I think it will be a three. I think it will be a back five. I think it will be, let's try not to concede and get a goal and nick a win. I think this is going to be counter-attack FC. And you can almost argue, why wouldn't you play like that? The problem, I've seen some formations where they've got Martinez in the midfield three with the back four. You're up against Calvert-Lewin, and you're going to leave two kids at the back in a hostile environment. I just don't see Martinez, the captain, stepping into the midfield with Casemiro when you need a bit of experience at the back. So I think it will be a three, but we'll find that out in the first 5 minutes. Leeds obviously rested Calvert-Lewin and Okafor for the Liverpool game. They're both starting. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game. I mean, look, things can go our way. As we've said, Cunha could produce some magic. We might put some crosses into Sesko and he might hit the target. We could also see a quite tempestuous game, aggressive game, where maybe there's a red card that goes in our favour. So, look, I wouldn't rule Man United out from getting something from this game. I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I think what's going on off the pitch is as important as what's going on the pitch. I mean, we've basically got a manager that is now speaking the way you would want him to speak about the ineptitude of the ownership, who have effectively bought a manager in that plays a certain style of play and then not backed him and asked him to adapt. I mean, you don't employ a plumber and then when he comes round and say, paint the fence. It's just bad profiling, isn't it? So, look, I think Amorim's under a lot of pressure, but I think for him to publicly say what he has said, and let's not forget he has publicly said it now, If you didn't see the embargoed section last night, he basically said, I've got to abandon what I'm about because the club won't back me. So, you know, it's absolutely, whatever happens today, there's a bigger story going on because there's clearly an issue between the ownership and the manager. I mean, the person I want to see sacked tomorrow is Jason Wilcox. I mean, you know, I'll say that before the game because we're here to talk about the game. I want to see Jason Wilcox sacked tomorrow. In the time that he's been here, it's been an absolute disaster. I don't think he's got a bloody clue what he's doing. Oh, I'm going to get you Liam Delap because I used to coach him at Man City. No, you didn't. Dan Ashworth has gone on his watch. Amorim's not been backed on his watch. He's trying to get Amorim to adapt to a back four on his watch. He won't let the youth play the system that Amorim wants on his watch. So, you know, people need to stop talking about Amorim getting the sack and they need to talk about Jason Wilcox. The guy's an absolute joke. He needs sacking. And if they sacked him tomorrow and we brought a proper director of football in, maybe they will back Amorim. So, you know, there's a lot of people saying sack Amorim, sack Amorim. I think Jason Wilcox needs to be sacked. Who is he? Who is it? What has he got to do with Man United? Nothing. He's an ex-Leeds and Blackburn Rovers player and he used to work for Man City. He needs sacking. He's the one that's recruited somebody and then asked them to adapt. You know, I liked the back four against Newcastle, but I also said he shouldn't have done it because it's not who he is. How you know, how do you don't recruit Pep Guardiola and then tell him to play Mourinho ball, and you don't recruit Mourinho and tell him to play Pep ball. So why are we doing that? I don't know. Mrs. Stone says Amorim might as well call out the circus of a board if he's going to get sacked anyway. 100%. And as I said, in the apportionment of blame, Amorim has to take a lot of the blame. But the main blame for me will always lie with the owners. We know we are obsessed with ex-City. Maresca next, says Alpha. I highly rate De Ligt, but really like this back three, says One Inch Wonder. We want Champions League football. We need to win, no losses, says James. And we forget that Amorim's manager idol is Mourinho. Defensive lineups and substitutions and parking the bus should be no surprise, but do we want that, says Marlowe. Look, as I said, I think it's a fair point to be critical of the manager, but the ownership... you know, whether you like this manager, whether you like this, I think what people need to really understand is that Amorim is saying, I came here with a plan and a year down the line, I'm having to abandon it because they won't back it. How do you do that? How do you do that? As I said, you know, you don't get the gardener to come and cut your grass and when he turns up, say, you know, build me a conservatory. It's just ridiculous. And that's what they've done and that's what the manager's done. Amorim's stubbornness will eventually get him sacked, says Ricardo. But what's he being stubborn about, Ricardo? I'd love to know what he's being stubborn about. You want him to play a back four. Why should he? That's not who he is. You know, go and recruit, Leonardo DiCaprio. Scorsese signs him up for his latest film and then he turns up and he says, you're in EastEnders. I don't want to be in EastEnders. You know, that's not who I am. So, you know, I think it's a great point. You might want a back four, but we should have recruited a back four manager, you know? A serious club would have sacked Wilcox after Delap, says Rajaf. Wilcox needs to go. Barada needs to go. They're the sackings I'd do. Le Mans masterclass, says Mrs. Stone. But let's hope we can get a win today because... You know, as much as I like the back four, this is what Amorim is. So I would like to see him win with what he is, even though he's obviously doing it with two arms tied behind his back. Rajaf says, I think Amorim has made a lot of mistakes and I still have doubts, but if it's Amorim against Wilcox in the hierarchy, I'm Amorim all the way, says Rajaf. Free Xerxes says class of 99. Well, I'll talk to you about the bench now. And our Portuguese Southgate, I would not fault Amorim for taking risks and losing, but the back eight is depressing. Playing scared and losing is not the United way. How's my week going to be, says Mrs. Stone. And Tem, welcome to Members Club. Remember, we have got a game on Wednesday as well. We're playing Burnley on Wednesday. So, you know, it could be a good week. We could get 6 points. It could be a bad week. We could get 4, 3 or nothing. I would expect us to get something. The bench for Man United is Binder, Fletcher, Fredrickson, Kokonki, Lacey, Malacia, Mantato and Xerxes. We've basically got Xerxes on the bench. Yeah, I mean, the Leeds bench shits all over ours. I mean, they've got Longstaff and Micha, Tanaka, Harrison, Nonto. I mean, Leeds have got a better bench than we've got, and they're at home. Our bench is terrible. And look, I don't buy into the excuse that we're missing players from the AFCON that we knew we were going to miss in the summer. I don't buy into the excuse that we've got an injury crisis. Bruno and De Ligt are 2 players. Mainu was not getting picked. And as for Mason Mount, I'm going to say it. I don't really care. It's 2026 and we need to be honest. I'm not hiding back anymore. Mason Mount shouldn't be at this football club. How is a manager being sent into a season with Mason Mount? How is a manager going into the season relying on Mason Mount? He's had 5 injuries this season already, and it's halfway through. The only reason people are giving Mount a chance is because he's played well and because the injuries haven't been long. But he's had loads of injuries this season where he's been out for a week or 2, and he's out again. And I'm tired of but I like Mason. He's so important for the press. I'm more important for the press because I could bloody play. You know, a bag of shit's more important for the press because they can actually play. He's not, he's an absolutely shit signing. And I feel sorry for him because when he puts the shirt on, he does try. But how many years has he been here now? And in a game like this where you don't have Manu and you don't have Bruno and you don't have Ahmad and you don't have Mbeumo, this is exactly what we were talking about in the summer. These are the games where you need Mason Mount. In a month's time, when Bruno's back and Ahmad's back and Mbeumo's back, you don't need him. Have a little knock. You know, have a little knock for a couple of weeks. Have a rest. Have a rest in February. But when you actually need him, he can't play. And can you imagine the conversation Amorim's having with him? Mate, are you sure you just can't play? Because I can give you the whole of February off. Like, can you just play today? Because I've got nobody. I actually need you today. Next month, I can put you on the bench. I can give you the week off. You can go to Benidorm. You know, you can do some TikTok dances, you know, whatever it is you do. But I need you today. Even if you're only 60%, can you just say to the fitness department, I feel okay? Can you just give me 60 minutes? I need you today. No, I can't play. You can't build with, he's basically Phil Jones. You can't utilise, and I don't feel bad for saying it because I don't know him and he's on 250 grand a week. And I've got no sympathy apart from it must be horrible to be injured when you're a professional footballer. But what a shit signing and what a waste of space. And in a game like this, he's really important and he's not there. So, you know what? Forget whether he should have the number 7 on his back. That was an idiotic move. But I can't be dealing with Mason Mount anymore. He's just so unpredictable. He's so unreliable. And today is the day where you need him and he's not there. So look, you might not like it. I like the player, but I hate the injury record. And if we'd had Mason Mount today, maybe we win the game. Maybe we do. Because our bench is shite. Add Amorim to the list of managers the owners and directors haven't backed and then sacked. The constant cycle repeats itself. We suffer, they don't, says Redman. Well, where we are now is very reminiscent of where Erik ten Hag was in his... Well, it wasn't his final season because they kept him. The season we won the FA Cup is very reminiscent of where Amorim is at the moment, although Ten Hag had way more injuries, actually. But it was still Ten Hag out despite the injuries, so it's still going to be Amorim out despite all the injuries. But really, it should be Wilcox out. You're the director of football. You map this. This should be Barada out. You're the CEO. You map this. You're strategic. You're not on the training ground, you're strategic. You know Jason Wilcox's job is actually to look in the summer at what you need for the season, and to look what you need next season, and to look what you want to do in January, and to see that the AFCON's going to be there, and to see that Mason Mount's never fit. You know, that's actually the job of the director of football, is to strategically map the team out. And you know what? I'd rather be driven by Stevie Wonder than have bloody Jason Wilcox as our director of football. Is useless. And so is Barada, and so is Sir Jim, and so is the Glazers. And this is what you end up with. You end up with a team like this, a bench like that, and that, you know, whatever you think about Amorim's system, you're not going to get Amorim ball with that, are you? You're not going to get Amorim ball with that. Rice would make himself available. Why can't Mount, says Castle? Mate, I'm not saying that Mason Mount's faking injury. Absolutely not. But this is the problem. He genuinely has issues that stop him from playing. I'm sure Mason Mount would try to play today if he could, but the fact that he can't just shows you how broken he is. Amit says, owners are using this transfer window as a decoy to lure fans into thinking a transfer is in place, but in reality, this is a strategy to wipe Amorim out. Who signed Mount, says Dave? Ten Hag. He came in with Ten Hag, didn't he? It was pre-Ineos, to be fair. Redman Dan, thank you very much. He said, add Amorim to the list of managers the owners and directors haven't backed and then sacked. Exactly. Nigel says, my gut feeling is that the gloves are off now and Amorim sounded like Ranić yesterday. I feel Amorim will be sacked, but I think he will take Wilcox and Barada with him. Feel sorry for him. Nigel, I will back this manager now. I've got to say, I don't know whether anyone else has switched, but I don't like what Amorim's doing in relation to results. And there's a lot of things I don't like about Amorim, but I totally agree that he hasn't been backed. And all I needed was for him to start saying it, and I'll back him. And that's what he's saying. I haven't been backed. He definitely wanted midfielders. He hasn't been given them. And if he's going to go out, he should go out swinging. Because, and I don't mean dropping your keys at a party with your wife. I don't mean that. What I mean is throwing a few punches at an incompetent board that we know are killing United. So, look, he might not be the right manager. And if you think he's not the right manager, that's up to you. But if he's not the right manager, do you want him to just be quiet? Or do you want him to actually tell you a few truths about what goes on at the football club? So I'm standing with Amorim on this. I think the fact that he's now come out and said Wilcox and Ineos are a load of shit is really important. The big thing we've got the problem with is the players. How do the players feel about this? Because who pays the players? The Glazers. So will the players turn up for the manager today, or will they be turning up for the club? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how the players play, because I think one thing that people haven't realised is we've seen the Watford games that killed Ollie. We've seen the games that killed Jose. We've seen the games that killed Ten Hag. Where are the players? Are the players going to go with Amorim, or are they going to go with their employers? We'll have to wait and see. We lack attacking players, so now we have Obi fallen so far behind the other youngsters. I don't know why Obi's not on the bench, Marlo. I don't know why Obi's not on the bench. He was unused the other night, and he's not on the bench again. Mark, why is it so hard for everyone to see the plague that the ownership is? Why does everyone turn a blind eye to this disease that's infected the club? Says Smokey. Mate, I think it's disgusting. I've said it about the journalists. I've said it about other content creators. I've said it about ex-players. I've said it about the media. They don't talk about Wilcox. They don't talk about Barada. They don't talk about the Glazers. It's all about Amorim. And, you've got to ask questions as to why that is. How are we winning this game with 7 defensive players, a left back as a number 10 and 2 attacking players that haven't exactly put fire to our defences, says Stian? Because I think what we're going to do, mate, is we're going to park the bus and we're going to try and counter and we're going to try and get set pieces. And I think Delo's long throws, etc., trying to get the ball onto Casemiro's head, I think we'll see a lot of that. Fans can disagree about the players and the manager, but if there is something to be united on, it's to agree that Ineos and the Glazers are failures and shit, says Rajaf. Why isn't Obi and Diego Leon on the bench, says Mrs. Stone? Fair points. And saddest part, Jose wanted players for his system. He never got them. Ollie the same. Haaland and Rice didn't get. And now Amorim as well. All on the owners, says JC. Van der Sar, director of football, please, says One Inch Wonder. Just a proper director of football who understands what Man United's all about. Like people don't like it when you say, I want somebody who knows what Man United's all about. But like, if you've played for Man United, like Van der Sar, you know what Man United's all about. If you live and breathe Man United, like Nicky Butt, you know what Man United's all about. Jason Wilcox doesn't know what Man United's all about. I get it's a dream job, and I get, you might appoint him, but I never would have, because what can you tell me about Man United? Wow, I used to like coming here when I played for Leeds, and I liked coming here when I played for Blackburn, but no, what do you know about Man United? I need somebody that can, attach themselves to the fans. It's 2025. Angry Ginger's just won the celebrity. Luke Little has just won the darts, giving it the big un to the fans all the way through. Personality is king. Why have we got a CEO and a director of football that's got the personality of a turd that's been out all summer? They're just so boring as well. It's 2026 actually, it's not 2025. But it works in 2025 and it works in 2026. But there's no personality as well. Why have we got the 2 most boring people as our CEO and director of football? They're boring. They're so boring. They stand there next to each other. They've got no personality at all. They've got no aura. If he was a Man United fan, I'd love Simon Jordan to be our CEO. I don't know whether he's any good, but imagine him talking about the club and, we need that. Man United need that. We need some personality in the club. We're so dull. We're so dull. We're so boring. We're so bloody... It's so business orientated, isn't it? Like, we need... I'd rather have somebody that, wasn't necessarily the best tool in the box, but had the best personality and was driven by making Man United great again, I don't know whether it's go as far as Everett or Cantona. I think that might be a little bit too far. But, I do think we lack personality. And... I've seen the interviews with Wilcox and Barada, and they're boring. They're boring. They're not inspirational people. I've got to say, if I was a player at Man United, I would not be inspired by them. Walking into Carrington, I'd be like, oh my God. Anyway, look, back to the game. My favourite YouTuber versus my favourite team. Let's go, says Betts. Can we start saying medium throw instead of long throw, says 100. To be fair, I've seen a few long throw-ins over the weekend. Semenyo, the Brentford guy, I've seen him obviously before. Even the Arsenal ones. Delo can't even throw the ball long. He's actually shit at long throws. It's a mid-throw. He doesn't even throw it far. And he doesn't even throw, you know, like Semenyo, he sort of throws it in at a trajectory where it's not looping. It's sort of going in at a certain height. So it's almost, it's not as good as a cross, but it goes in at a certain height. It's got pace on it. Delo just sort of like goes, it's like he's playing netball. It's like, you know, and it doesn't even go very far. My guess is that the players don't turn up. Well, Hatless Lemming. I think this is a great point, and I've heard nobody talking about it, and this is a testament to you, the biggest and best community, in my opinion. Even though I actually started it, I'm thinking a lot of people have probably thought about it as well. I am disgusted with the ownership, and I'm disgusted with Wilcox and Barada. I think they're absolutely useless. I don't think Amorim's much better, but I'd rather side with a manager that's telling us the truth than those lot. But what we can't factor in is that whether you support Amorim, Wilcox or whatever, it's going to be about what the players do. And how many times have we walked into a game like this hoping we're going to get some performance that supports a manager, and they absolutely down tools. And, you know, I don't trust these players, so I don't know what we're going to get. But Hatless says, my guess is that the players won't turn up. I wouldn't be surprised if Amorim Wilcox don't understand how big this game is for Leeds. We make good summer signings, but Amorim and Xabi can't make it to the summer. We need elite game managers like Conte and Tuchel that can handle dead wood, says Muad. United, look, I agree with you, mate. I said this on That's Football last night. If I had to replace Amorim, the two names I would go with would be Conte and Emery. And Conte was going to leave Napoli for Juve, so Conte would come to Man United. Emery, I don't know. It will never happen because we are obsessed with Chelsea and we are going to keep buying and appointing learner drivers. So we would never go with a coach like Conte or Emery because they would walk in and go, he's shit, that's a stupid idea, you're clueless. And they'd go, we don't want none of that. We do not want one of that. We want somebody that comes in who's really inexperienced and goes, oh, thank you, Jason, thank you, Omar, thank you, Jim. What can I do? I've brought my broom and I've got my polish. You know, that's what we want. How can you be successful with somebody that's basically a puppet, you know? And that's what they want. That's what Chelsea want. That's what Man United want, so that the shite board can stay in control and make bad decisions. Muad says, we made good summer signings. I've done that one. It's bullshit when people say it will take 3 or 4 or number of windows to compete, because under this ownership, every window is either not net zero. This is a great point by Big Z. You know, and this is why I think United are the masters at kicking the ball down the road. In 2 or 3 years' time, in 3 years, in 2028, we'll be great and all this shit. I think United could be back in 3 years, but until I see the point where that timer starts, I'm not even starting 3 years. I think some of you think we've started the 3 years. As I said last night, Sir Jim Ratcliffe 2 years ago said it will take 3 years. We're 2 years into that 3 years, and I don't think that's even started yet. The 3 years doesn't start until they start doing the right things. How can they say it's going to take 2 or 3 transfer windows to get back when they ignore transfer windows? January transfer window is a transfer window, but we ignore it. So that's not 2 or 3 transfer windows, is it? It's 2 or 3 summer transfer windows, which doubles the time when you think about it. I feel like it's inevitable the players will side with the ownership, says James. The players should turn up for themselves, says Nick. When did you realise Sir Jim was absolutely useless, says Charlie. I never wanted them. I think the warning signs were there. Apart from a British passport, I don't see what Ineos ever offered, really. He doesn't strike me as somebody who knows anything about football. Amorim don't play Shea Lacey challenge, says Sam. He could be catalyst for Glinios out, says Mrs. Stone. 100% believe Dan Ashworth saw this mess coming and that's the reason he got sacked. He knew this squad was only good enough for counter-attacking. Physio, look, I don't side with Amorim. Sorry, I don't sign with Ashworth. I don't actually think Ashworth is very good. But where I would probably agree with you is he probably said we should go for Southgate and not Amorim. Now, that's a sackable offence. Listen to me on this, right? This is my theory on Ashworth. I don't think Ashworth's very good. I think some people want to paint him as the guy that would have made us good. That was Rangnick. I think Ashworth's crap. But what I think he did say is we should go for Southgate instead of Amorim, which is a sackable offence. But I think the reason he said it is this team can't play good football. So why are you appointing a good football manager? You need a basic counter-attacking coach who just does things basic. And I think he said go for Southgate over Amorim, so they sacked him, which is a sackable offence. But he was probably right in relation to the shit that we've got and how shit Southgate's plays. They probably would have suited each other. So I do think there's some truth in that, but I wouldn't have wanted Southgate. Amorim clearly didn't know the club if he expected to be backed. Xerxes gets benched as if he's got Mount's injuries, says Unrest Digest. Rice would make himself available. Why can't I? We've done that one as well. Okay, players are out on the pitch here. What can Wilcox Barada do if they won't give them pounds, says Jack? It's not as simple as that though, mate, is it? I mean, you could list, Wilcox and Barada, as I said, have got the personality of a sheep shit, and they have made countless decisions that are incredibly bad, and they have got money. They've got £65 million. They've just they've just tried to bid for Semenyo, so the money is there, but for some reason they're just crap at their job. Nice fans protesting against Ineos ownership, says Bear Merchant. Slovenia derby in the Premier League today. Seska versus Vijay. Love you guys. Patience with Amorim. We judge him on next season. Our squad is not good enough, says Micha. I'm not being patient. I'm not being patient. There's no... Amorim himself is saying he's not being backed. So why would you be patient about a project where the manager running the project is saying I'm not being backed? You can't. I don't think you can say that anymore. I don't think you can say let's be patient. He's basically done an interview saying he's not being backed. So even if you back Amorim, you can't back the project because he's not being backed. So what we need is change on the board. We need change of ownership, but if we're not going to have that, I think, if Sir Jim Radcliffe had anything about him, he'd be sacking Wilcox tomorrow. He'd be sacking Barada tomorrow, but he won't. We're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Even if they sack the manager, I think the next manager's got problems. Havin has gifted a membership. Thank you very much. Tony says, we're a box of chocolates. Can't believe we've come to this. Agate needs a good game. Love a Roses derby. Come on, United to top. You know what? Ultimately, I would not be surprised if there is a red card in this game. And as much as we think it might be Leeds, Martinez, Casemiro, Agate, you just don't know. Let me give you a back massage, says official Margot Robbie. I would take Leon Rosina. He loves the club, says Love Hate Games. Thank you very much. Thanks for all your super chats, by the way. You're absolute legends. It's been a very energetic start to this show. Please do share the video. I am live with you at 8 o'clock tonight because I haven't really had a chance to react to Amorim's press conference from last night with an early start. So we will have an 8 o'clock show tonight. We've got match reaction. We've got fan forum. It's a busy day. Thanks everyone who's getting involved. Please do subscribe to the channel bottom right-hand corner. To do that, we're getting close to 227,000. So get involved with the United Stand live every morning at 10, every evening at 8, and every afternoon show at 2. Big day on a match day. You can do the player ratings as well. Share the video and get involved. Thank you. We're about to start. It's 12:30 on a Sunday. Which way is it going to go? I'm going to go with a draw. I don't think we'll lose, but you're about to get an initiation of what this game means to Leeds. This is a huge game for Leeds. And Leeds thought they were going to take the kickoff there, but it's actually Manchester United taking the kickoff. Red against white, black short. I've always liked the Man United black shorts, black socks combo. I've always liked it. Maybe it makes me think of Elland Road and Leeds, but we're up and running here. That sun needs to sort itself out. It's a bit crap. But here we go. So we're looking at United's formation here. Delo is running around all over the place again. Watch Delo. He doesn't know who he is. He hasn't got a clue. If you said to him, what's your name? He'd go, John. He doesn't know who he is in a Man United shirt. He's here, there and everywhere. He's the new Bruno. He just runs around. It will be a 3-4-3. I think you'll be able to tell if it's a 3-4-3 straight away because of where Martinez is. Good play by Leeds here. Yeah, Martinez is definitely playing in the midfield, in the defence, so he's not playing in the midfield. And he's made a good block there. Watching any matches on That's Football, says Fraz. Yeah, I'm live at 5:30 tonight, Man City Chelsea. So, escapism on That's Football, yeah. Who are these players on your bench, says Matt? It's basically kids in Xerxes. Do you think... hold on, long throw in from Leeds here into the sun. Well up by Dorgu. Dorgu wins. Tell you what, I've noticed that. There's not many positives about Man United, but I have noticed over the last few games that Dorgu wins a lot of defensive headers, and that's not always a given. Do you think Amorim's gone at the end of the season, regardless of what happens, as Ineos has not backed him in the January window, says Matthew? I think that's one way of looking at it, yeah. I mean, look, I said yesterday morning, something's clearly changed when the board are leaking against him. Won't see the game, unfortunately. Lineup looks crap, says Eddie. Marco says it's 7:30 a.m. in Montreal, Canada. Early this, hoping for a win. Happy New Year to you in the community, says Marco. Yeah, Happy New Year to you, pal. I think this is going to be a very congested and it's going to be a battle. We're playing a back five. They're playing a back five. I think it's going to be a battle. I don't think there'll be loads and loads of good football. Amorim wanted Watkins over Sesko. Wilcox out, says Random. Yeah, I'll put my hand up. I wanted Ineos. If only I'd known that what would happen barely 3 years later. Come on, United, says Thomas. Look, it's never been about that for me. I didn't want Ineos. What annoyed me about it is that you got these people on X and whatever who just told everybody that didn't want Ineos that we were morons. You know, the people that wanted a full sale and the debt gone were morons, and Sir Jim was the guy to go for, and he was going to get he was going to get the Glazers out by 2026. And they're the people that, need to apologise. People who believed it, why would you not believe it? The main thing is, after 2 years, hopefully you've seen the light and you just come to the right side. They're ruining the club with the Glazers, Gaming UK says, in the last 5 years, we haven't had a decent striker that's ever good enough. We've wasted so much money on strikers. Happy New Year, pal. I think Cavani was good enough. He just, what the fuck is Delo doing here? He's shit, isn't he? I mean, I'm not going to talk about Delo for the next 10 minutes. He's got the ball at right back. He's tried to lob the ball over the top of the player and run after it. I mean, only people like Messi and Yamal do that, mate. What transfer business will United do? I think if we keep putting the pressure on, they will do some business. Tell you what, it'd be interesting to see what Luke Shaw does at left wing back, because he did sod all as left centre back in the last game. No, don't do any of this ref can shit. Is Amorim wearing a full kit today? What a prat. Won't get out of Ellen Road alive, says Marty. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. Having a laugh has just gifted a membership. You're a legend, pal. Thank you very much for that. Thanks everyone who's getting involved. If you do a super chat, we'll read those out. You can do that through the $ as well. Dave says, I think there might be a red card incoming. Well, I hope the referee is going to let it roll a little bit. Here's Cunha. He's got to have a good game today. The bosses are in the stand. Wilcox will be in the stands. He'll be there with the bloody Leeds kit on. He used to bloody play for... I mean, Jason Wilcox will be there like this. Get in. If Leeds score. He used to bloody play for Leeds. The thing is, though, it might start to get to the point now with what's going on with the board where to save their own face, they've got to sort of see bad results, haven't they? I don't know. Electric crowd, says Sachs. VK says, I think United are going to win this. Well, here we go with another long throw from Delo. Let's see how far he can throw it. Doesn't even make the edge of the 6-yard box. Mid-throw. Another mid. Look at that. Doesn't even make the 6-yard box. Look. Ah, actually, to be fair, it made the edge of the 6-yard box. That's not a long throw, that. That's just a throw to the edge of the 6-yard box. That's not that. That is not even that long. Ladios says we almost scored. Mate, you need to get out more. I just remembered in the summer when we were linked to Calvert-Lewin. What a horrible board, even thinking to sign him, says Mikhail. Look, Calvert-Lewin's done a great job at Leeds, but we're Manchester United. Like, played by Dorgu. Good play by Dorgu. Oh, he's unlucky there. He's one of the bright sparks for Man United, Dorgu. Problem we've got is after an hour, we've got no bench. Leeds have actually got a good bench. I mean, look, in the Premier League, you do need to look at that. And after an hour, we've got no bench. So, and we're also playing on Wednesday. So, I think 6 points from the next 2 is going to be very difficult with the squad we've got and the games we've already played. Look, I'm doing another long throw in here, look. It's nearly on the halfway line and we're doing another long throw. Fucking hell. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. And he throws it to Martinez and now it's gone back to the goalkeeper. Blood. Even, look, I don't like long throw-ins, but even when we're meant to do them, he fucks it up. Goal! Oh, what a goal! Offside. Oh, get it! It just happened again! It's happened again! Well, it's a bloody worldie. And we're offside. Lazy bastards. It's an absolute worldie by Cunha and the lazy bastards haven't got out. Oh, that's criminal, that. That's criminal. Oh, God. Damn it. That's a worldie gone because we're too bloody lazy getting out. I think it was Casemiro, wasn't it? So basically, we hit a long ball, but Casemiro and Sesko were too slow getting out. So they challenged for the ball from an offside position. It drops to Cunha. He scores an absolute fucking worldie, but they're too slow getting offside. I think it was Sesko and Casemiro, but it's the first 8 minutes. That's a right kick in the nuts, that is. But we're doing all right. But that's a kick in the nuts, that, because that was a bloody great goal. As Ratcliffe battles to save Ineos from drowning under 18 billion of debt, there's no hope for investment in us, says Tom. Marvel says last season's agenda was Maguire and now it's Delo. There was no agenda against Maguire last season, actually. Calvert-Lewin with a chance. Over the bar. Yeah, mate, I don't think it's an agenda against Delo. He's shit. That's not an agenda. If you look at what the definition of agenda is, it's not somebody being shit. Another Agate masterclass incoming, says Jack. Tony O'Neill, no fallout, hit piece by the journalist, says David. Well, there is a fallout because we saw it on the embargoed section last night that Ruben Amorim himself said that he's not being backed. Happy New Year, another day of emotional torture, says Nath. Well, we should be winning 1-0 here. If we could be asked to get onside, we'd be winning 1-0 with a worldie. But, look, we've got to take the confidence from that. Random says, I found you through an Anana compilation. Big up. Thanks, pal. Thanks everyone who's getting involved. Make sure you subscribe. Uncle Anton says, it can't be an agenda. He's just stating a fact that Delo is, in fact, crap. Beck says, can you remember your FIFA career mode when you were in a full kit manager at Ellen Road? I do remember those days, yes. I think we need to score first and we need to start well because, as I said, after an hour, we're going to get tired and we're going to have to rely on kids. So we've started off quite energetically here, which you know, is a testament to the players, however good they are. And remember, Leeds did play on Thursday as well. So I'm pleased to see that we've started off with a bit of intensity because Leeds did play on Thursday. We played on Tuesday. So we've got to try and use whatever advantage we can. But we could have done with that. We could have done with that Cunha goal. Well in by Luke Shaw, but he's out of position now. You've got to stop the cross. Bloody hell. You don't let a bloody fullback run to the edge of the box to put a cross in. Mark, remember, I've done that one, Beck. Thank you very much. If we started even half our home matches with this intensity, we could easily be 10 points better off, says Wilfred. Embarrassing. I cannot stand these players. Look, the light switch looks like it's on, which is a positive. It's just how long we can keep it on for. That's a lovely ball. And that's gone out for a goal kick. Ardash says, agenda against the low, let's do it. He's a prat. Jordan's in Australia and says, your feed is 2 minutes ahead of my... sometimes it's all over the place, but we are actually watching it on TNT today. So, you know, that's live. So that's why we have the... If you want to sync in with us, that clock there is synced in with the clock I have on my screen. That's why we use it. Oh, back's a bit tight today. The tree's gone. More space. Yeah, look, I think in relation to, you know, dropping points to 10 men Everton, and it's a nice ball by Martinez into Dorgu. I think being left-footed there, he's offside as well. Fucking hell. It's that long diagonal again, isn't it? The long diagonal's back. Long diagonals and long throws. That seems to be all we got at the moment. Apparently the commentator just said Sir Alex Ferguson likes it raw. A few people have just dropped that in the live chat, and I'm trying to think what the footballing context... Is it talking about cold weather maybe? But, you know, that's more... Liking it raw and having anything to do with cold weather, to be honest, when people say like it raw, it means something else more than it means cold weather. Dear, oh dear. TV announcer said Sir Alex Ferguson likes it raw. Yeah. Kira says, the problem is no matter how we play first half, we fall apart in the second half, especially with the bench we have. I think that's the problem, Kira, and I think Amorim and the players will probably know that. Leeds obviously played on Thursday, but they've got a better bench, so they're likely to be fitter than us in the second half where we don't have a bench. So we've got to push it in the first half. And look, games are played like that. You know, I've played the game, and I'm sure you've played the game, and sometimes, you know you can't play for 90 minutes. That's good. That's actually good play by Casemiro and Shaw. I thought that was a foul, but it's not been given. Good tackle, Agate. But yeah, you can't keep the intensity up for 45 minutes. So I think United maybe have looked at this game and said, let's go at them for the first half an hour because they played on Thursday and we don't have much of a bench. I'm studying to be an electrician. Maybe you, United, can hire me to help keep this light switch on, says TTV. Hi, Mark. Just want to say thank you to getting me through 2025. I've been dealing with a breakup and I'm now co-parenting. It's been big, hard work. Shout out to you, King Callum. And remember, we are live every night at 8 o'clock, so we're always there if you need some escapism. The light switch is a dimmer switch, Mark. Some of our players are just dimmer than others, says Having a Laugh. Thanks, pal. We apologise for the loss of sound. Doesn't matter to me. Get onto United stand. We've got sound. I don't rate this Leeds goalkeeper, by the way. I think we really need to sort of test him with crosses and shots. I tell you what, that was half a chance for Sesko, but the flag stayed down. I don't know what the Leeds defender was doing, but he let it go through him, and Leeds Sesko was nearly in. Still 0-0. Martinez into the keeper's arms. I'd like to see that Sesko chance again. Three at the back against their front two. I think most people like it raw, says Julu. Celtic, man, and we now play 3-4-3. The second half issue is that the players need to sprint everywhere to make up the lost space, says Jude. Why is the tree gone already? It's only the 11th day of Christmas, says Chris. It's only in this room. We've still got them up in the other rooms, but I needed to film something for That's Football, and they didn't want the tree in it because it goes out on Wednesday. So I just didn't have time to put it back up. It'd probably be on the 8 o'clock show. Been watching for 5 years, loved every moment. Here's to 2026 as Bitter Lemon. Cheers, pal. Thanks for your super chat. Anil says, I've stopped watching. We are like Stoke. What needs to change for Man United to be in the top 3? Ownership. Everything, local crackhead. But we've limited Leeds to no chances at the moment. And the referee is giving us a lot of free kicks. So, look, don't miss Bruno waving his arms at everything, says Mats. Happy New Year, Mark. Nice to see you again, says Cola Cherry. Thanks, pal. Thanks, everyone who's tuning in. I think they've got sound issues on TNT, so get yourself over here. We'll give you what's going on. It's probably been taken off air for saying Sir Alex likes it raw. They've sacked the commentator. Laura Woods, come upstairs. We've sacked him. Yeah, 20 minutes gone. We did score a worldie with Cunha, but the build-up, someone was offside, so it's still 0-0 here. But we have limited Leeds to very little so far. If you look at the game is playing out exactly as I thought it would. 2 back fives, but no shots on target for either team, technically. They've had a little bit more possession than us. Please do share the video. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Connor, thanks for being a member. What's your opinion on Cunha, says Luke? I really like Cunha. I just don't think we've utilised him correctly. You look at Wolves, everything goes through him. It's about getting the ball into his feet. I think when you've got people like Bruno in the team, Ahmad and Burmo, you've got a lot of players there that want the ball. And I actually think we're set up today better to accommodate someone like Cunha. But, you know, I don't think he's had the best of starts to his career, but it's Manchester United. We destroy careers. So I do like him. It's just whether Man United are going to get the best out of him. United need to put these chances away early or come the second half it will bite us, says Slow Sports News. Well, apparently we've not had any chances, Slow Sports News. So I know Cunha's goal is not counted as a chance because it was offside, but we've not really created anything yet. Haven't heard from Margot Robbie in a while. I hope she's doing okay, says Nath. Literally just offered me a back massage about 10 minutes ago. They're definitely there. Do you think if we got relegated, Glenios would still own United as they would think we are good enough to get back into the Premier League? AJM, I genuinely do not think that relegation would get rid of the Glazers. Oh, that cross there got cut right in the sun. It's difficult for Lamens. Good header away by Heaven. Do you think if we got done that one from AJM? How are we playing, Mark? I'm in the airport, no signal, says Jack. I mean, we're doing all right. I mean, it's not the best game in the world, but we're doing okay. I'd say it's quite a 50-50 game, but, you know, that's probably better than what some people were expecting, really. Hi, Mark. When is Mainu back? Strange how he's out at the same time as Bruno, says Ash. Again, it's another player that you would expect to be, you know, desperate to get back because Bruno might be back before Mainu, and then he's missed every game that Bruno was out. So it is strange, but having said that, a calf injury, if it's genuine, it can take a few weeks. Good play by Sesko into Delo. Casemiro, got to use the width there. It might be worth a shot, Martinez, and he did shoot, but that might go for a corner. Yeah. Even though half of our first 11 is missing, we look much more compact. No gap between the defence and the midfield without Bruno in the team, says Michu. K825 says, did you remove the tree to film something raw? Big Jimmy says raw is always best, especially in Fergie time. You're all getting very excited about this raw comment. Right, corner to United. These are the opportunities in a game like this that could be the difference. You know, both teams playing with 3 centre-backs. Set pieces become very, very important. So we've got to ping this right in on the goalkeeper. And we did, but I think there was a foul on Luke. Luke Shaw was fouling the keeper there. I mean, do we not study Arsenal? You can't just go and grab hold of the goalkeeper. Oh, that was really shit by Luke Shaw because, you know, I could see it. He literally fouled the goalkeeper, and you can bump the goalkeeper and it won't be a foul, but you can't grab hold of him like that. Son is pissing me off, says Mrs. Stone. Big shout out to Skeeter on his birthday, says British 10. Thank you very much for that. Abby says a draw would be good for us. Depends what your standards are, Abby. You know, a draw against Wolves and Leeds, 2 points from 6, is shit. You know, they're both relegation teams. So I think a draw against Leeds, if you beat Wolves, might not be terrible, but I think we've got to win this game. Agate, warning. There we go. That yellow card is coming in. I mean, actually, who do you think will get a yellow card first? Casemiro or... I'm going to run a poll here. Who gets the yellow first? Because it's definitely going to happen. Casemiro or Agate. Get your votes in. Agate's next tackle is definitely going to be a yellow, but, you know, Casemiro's first tackle is normally a yellow. Oh, mate, you got to track him. Leeds on their first proper attack. Good tackle by Heaven. Corner to Leeds. Had to time that well. Time to make Sir Alex Ferguson like it raw shirts for merch, says J-Dead. You can't disrespect him like that. Yeah, to be fair, that wasn't even a borderline tackle. It was a good tackle by Heaven. Ref cam is very cringe. Yes, it is, Vader. Right, corner to Leeds. Oh! It did it, Sesko's hand, but the referee's not having it, so I think we'll be okay. It definitely hit his hand, but I think it was one of those ones where the ball goes up and hits him, and there's not really any appeal coming in now. No penalty. What happens is it basically goes into him. Nah, it's hit his underarm as well, so we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Didn't look like a penalty. Why doesn't United go for well-established superstar players like João Neves or Javi, De Jong, Yildiz instead of up-and-coming like Baleba, says Leo? Because that's the model, mate. And, yeah, it's a strange model, but that's the model. It's the Chelsea model, basically. Come on, Cunha, this is where you're good. Oh, he's fell over his own ball. Just as he got past the players there, he tripped. So, 25 minutes gone. No real chances for either team apart from the Cunha goal, which would have been, you know, the sort of goal in a game like this that makes the difference in a game like this, a moment of magic. But unfortunately, there was an offside in the build-up. It was an absolute banger. Good play by Yoro there. You got to move. You got to get tight there, Luke. I do think people just stroll through us a little bit too much. I mean, it's a lack of intensity in the midfield, I know, but that's it. That's good by Heaven. Straight in. That's a free kick. Oh, no, he's not going to give it. Fair play, ref. Ref's been all right to us so far, I've got to say. Oh, God. Casemiro did well there because I think that was going to be a foul. And that's Agate's hit it way too far. That was good play and we just messed it up. Share the video if you're watching. We've got nearly 40,000. Thanks for watching, everyone, as ever. Remember, you can do your player ratings in the second half. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. Typical half-12 game. In fact, you know what? This is taking me back to the Sir Alex years. I remember Leeds, to me, I might be completely wrong, but I remember us beating Leeds. He dropped Beckham and Luke Chadwick scored the winner, and it was a very similar game to this. A real battle, and we just got the one goal. And I just feel like a lot of the games where we play Leeds used to be like this. Just very tense affairs, and it's all about who scores first. And we're looking for this long ball all the time. Well done, Heaven. Delo is so bad, it's painful watching him, says Craig. Is there a stat for misplaced passes, says Mrs. Stone? There probably is. Hi, Mark. Happy New Year, Mark, says Ian. I like the topic of conversation on United Stand. If we target and put enough pressure on Sir Jim, he might walk. Hope so. Why doesn't United go for... Done that one from Leo. Thanks for your super chats. We'll read those out if you want to do them through the $sign. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Someone get Delo a pass completion up. It's terrible, says Rich. I might be able to do it. I've never really liked the stat that much because I don't actually think it's... I don't think... It always seems to favour the player. If you hold on 1 minute, let me have a look at passes. Delo has made 22 passes. But it's not telling me how many have been completed. According to this, I think his pass success is 64. No, that can't be right. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't want to miss something from the game. Sure, just trotting around, says Pete. Out for a Sunday afternoon stroll. He looks out of breath constantly. As I said, I think he's going to struggle, Luke Shaw. But he's got a corner here. I think Dorgu's looked our best player again. Look, these corners are really important. And thankfully, Luke Shaw's not there. And they've done well on the back post. Oh. Try not to criticise Delo challenge. Basically, Martinez cuts it back to Delo, who's unmarked on the penalty spot. And he balloons it over the bar. I mean, how do you do that from there as a professional footballer? He's unmarked on the edge of the, basically level with the penalty spot from a cutback and puts it over the bar. So Jim doing his best, his hands are tied, says Lingan. If you were Cross says, if you were to put a chocolate bar up your backside, what would it be? Oh, come on, mate. Delo couldn't pass airport security. Only plays because Amorim's long-lost cousin, says Reese. Casemiro and Agate is killing our attack with bad passing, says Billy. I'll tell you what, though. In fairness, I do think that Martinez, Yoro and Heaven, I know it's a back three, and I always feel guilty for saying this, but our back three has been quite solid. So haters will say, well, 3 is better than 2. You're just overcompensating. And I do agree with that, you know. If you've got 2 centre-backs, you get an extra attacker. We're playing with 3 centre-backs, but we do look quite solid at the back so far. Glazers are the best thing that's happened to Liverpool, City, Chelsea and co. They have anchored us down, says Irish Physio. United look like they're struggling on where to place each pass. Very few open players, says Jeff. Well, we don't have a lot of options, do we? Because we are playing a back 5 a lot of the time. So you're an attacker down and there is no Bruno, there is no Mount, there is no Ahmad, there is no Mbeumo. So, you know, there's not a lot of... It's basically Cunha and Dorgu and sometimes Sesko that you'd be happy to knock the ball into. Lots of people are actually debating in the chat what chocolate bar they would stick up their arse, which I just find incredible. There's people saying M&M's, Twix. I mean, you don't have to get involved in conversations. It's not a necessity. Oh, nearly got Sesko in there, but Bijal did well. And a silly foul by Luke Shaw. Any transfers you'd like to see in January? Any is the word, Sian. Any would be good, but preferably I'd love to see a midfielder, a Conor Gallagher or a Ruben Neves, certainly. Do you still play FIFA on Twitch, says DBX? I'm hoping to get back playing FIFA tomorrow, but be 4 o'clock if I do. Delo is cheeks, but everyone's Lord and Saviour Mourinho rates him. What a joke. The washed one, says Black Wolf. Well, 33 minutes gone. I mean, look, when Leeds get the ball, he's booking him. It's a little bit harsh on Dorgu. I'd have to see that again there. It's his first tackle and he's got a yellow card. In on Calvert-Lewin. It's borderline for me. I think he could have let that go. It's a shame because I think Dorgu's been one of our better players and it feels like, you know, he's got to be very careful now. Henry says, Agate can't pass. Henny says, Agate can't pass. Mars or twist for me, says Marmed. What, to eat? Somebody just said they'd like to shove a whole selection box up their arse. That's Paul. Mate, you obviously really liked that question. Well, long throw from Leeds. Good Monson. That's a proper long throw. Look at that. He nearly reaches the penalty spot. You make Delo cry in a minute. Yorkie, says Irish. And Toblerone, says Marcus. Kent says, hold on, cross coming in from Leeds. That's a good cross! And it's, oh my God! Calvert-Lewin, I thought he'd scored, and that would have been it. All the work we've put in, that would have been it. What a chance. Fucking hell. It's the post. We've got away with one there. That's 1-1 for me. Cunha's goal should have been a goal. That should have been a goal. Nothing you can do. Kent G says he also cuts that pass off from getting to Cunha and skies a sitter. Delo is tragic. If you were appointed manager of this club, what are the first 3 things you would do? Will it be signing or dropping players? Who would they be? Oh, no, you've got to get players in, because if you sign 3 players, you can drop players anyway, can't you? So, yeah, I'd get 2 midfielders in and another striker. Landon says, which chocolate is it going to be? Give the people what they want. I don't think the people really want to know what chocolate. And the question is why? Why would I be doing it? This is the United stand. It's not OnlyFans. "36 minutes. Leeds. Well done, Agate. You just wonder now, have United had their 25 minutes of intensity? Can we get it up again? Definitely put a lot into the first 20 minutes. I tell you what, Leeds defence though, I think if we had a bit of pace up front, you could really scrutinise their centre-backs. I don't know whether... Sesko is apparently fast, but I don't know whether he's fast over the first 10 yards. First chat for 2026 says, Island Boy, Happy New Year to you and the community. My daughter's flight back to South America got cancelled today because of what's going on in Venezuela. Let's get the win and screw Leeds. Thank you, Island Boy. Well, Happy New Year to you. Hope your daughter gets home safely soon. GD7 says, I have a bad feeling about this match, but I'm staying positive. United to win 1-0. And Saul Sports News says, the ref cam is jarring. It's like watching Peep Show during the football. And Big Jammy says, George Michael used to love Careless Whispers. Luke82 says, mine would be a picnic bar or a Toblerone. I can't believe how many people have taken to this topic. There's another one. Topic was another chocolate. You could literally say that. I can't believe... anyway, they've been discontinued. Too many people were doing it, I think. Does Martinez look like John Rambo? Says Pete. The meat. Casemiro's got no interest in the game. Mark my words, he's going to cost us, says Sean. And Mrs. Stone says, this is what watching United does. It makes people chat about weird stuff. I thought Casemiro was crap against Wolves as well. I mean, I don't know whether it's because there's no international breaks. I mean, he was decent up until November. And then since the November international breaks, it's almost like I can have 3 months off till February now. Some nice little flicks and stuff, but that's another bad pass by Casemiro. It does find its way to Luke Shaw. Jarbar Drink says, we do want to know, mine would be a flattened Bounty bar. Well, I would imagine a Bounty bar would just disintegrate on pressure. A Toblerone won't. That's going to be constant pain with every rib. What about a Galaxy Ripple? That would disintegrate and be easy work. Depends whether you want it to do that. Some people would probably like the bigger one. Oh, I can't believe it. Lovely ball into Cunha. It is Cunha. Luke Shaw, back into Cunha. Good cross, and it goes for a corner. Better. I'd choose a Hershey Kiss, says Clips. What about a Crunchy? Says Short-Tempered Gamer. It would probably eventually dissolve. Jordan, thanks for your super chat. Mine would be a Curly Whirly, says Caleb. Dear, I can't believe the filth of this chat. Double decker. I think a family-sized, family-sharing Toblerone would be the worst. Anyway, corner to United. You feel like set pieces are going to be the thing. Good save. That was nearly it. Casemiro headed it in towards somebody, and it's Yoro from about 2 yards out. He probably thinks he should have scored. Casemiro... Yoro flicks it. I just can't direct it away. Anywhere away from the goalkeeper, and that's a goal. Very close. Reese says Mark would definitely use a large Toblerone. House Jacket says he'd use a twirl. Headed away. Over the bar. Cunha. I feel like if anyone's going to score, it's going to be us. Although Calvert-Lewin's just done a chat. I can't wait to sit down. My leg's bloody killing me. Josh should use a family pack of Maltesers. Some of you are more excited with Christmas, with chocolate up your bum than Man United. Disgusting. Lion Bar, point bits would get rid of my hemorrhoids, says Mest. Okay, says he'd use a chocolate orange. Oh, God. You'd have to break it into bits, surely. Not the whole lot. Anyway, 4 minutes to go to half time. Tell you what though, you're all making me want to have a bit of chocolate to eat. Who's hungry? Look, what I will say, based on this first 41 minutes, we should be getting something out of this game. Leeds haven't looked as energetic as they did against Liverpool. It's got to be worth a cross there, Martinez. Casemiro tried to shoot. I think we are trying to shoot a little bit from distance with players that aren't very good at it. Absolutely has to be a flake. Doesn't melt and veiny, says Roma. Got to be a finger of fudge, says Ruby. Van Gaal did say we need to be more excited, or was that for the players, says Dark. And Fergie would use a lion bar as he loves it raw. I think that's the end of that conversation. Paul's just won that. There. Easter egg, says Phil. Yeah, Paul's definitely just won. Luke Shaw, put the cross in. Nah. Corner. Done well there, Justin. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. 0-0 here. Some big conversation. Please do share the video. We're close to 40,000. And please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We are getting close to 227,000 with 300 away. So get involved with the United Stand. Got a big show at 8 o'clock tonight. Obviously, we don't know the result of this game yet, but we do know what Ruben Amorim said at the end of the game. In the embargoed section yesterday, some really big comments. We'll sort of touch on them a little bit at half time if we haven't got any more drama from this. I can't look at when ref cam's on. I just look away. I call it twat cam, prat cam, basically. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, Leeds have got a corner here. Got to defend this well because I feel like set pieces are going to be important, and we have defended it well. But it comes to the edge. It's always about the second ball, and we've won it again. 61% of you said Agate will get booked before Casemiro will get booked before Agate. 61% of you going with Casemiro. I told you their keeper's shit. He just kicked it out for a throw-in under no pressure. Rosinya is a 3-4-3 Neto wing-back. You have Delo wing-back. It's mental, says Max. Not for as long as it's a family-sized one, says Morgan. Why don't I like the ref cam? It makes me feel like... It's like, you know, when you play FC 26 and they use the player cam after a goal. I think it's the moving around. It gives me motion sickness, so I've never liked it. Which candy bar are you shoving up there? I'm not doing this conversation anymore, Sills. You're all getting a bit kinky. It's worrying me. Johnny says, United in the last few years, no matter who the manager, we're just so slow on the ball and there is no movement from anyone. It's all just statues. I mean, look, I do agree with you, Johnny. I mean, I don't remember United playing many decent games in the last 10 years. And, you know, my enduring thoughts about this game again is that our two main ways of attacking are long throw-ins. Shoot, Dorgu! Oh, half a chance. Long throw-ins and long diagonals. It's all we really got. Goodbye, Cunha, this. I mean, again, ref cam, I can't look at it. It makes me want to throw up. Cunha's had a good game. Who said that? Marcus. I mean, look, I think you just got to get the ball into him, haven't you? Do you think we'll get a midfielder in January or in the summer, says Matthew? I think they want to wait until the summer, but that is probably going to be a different manager. So I think that we've got half a season to play for Champions League football. And we should look, regardless of the manager, this is a transfer window, isn't it? So we should be backing the club and the opportunity to get into Europe. It's not even about the manager. Half time, it's 0-0 at half time. Let's have a look at the stats first of all. Let me take it there. Pause it there. So we've had slightly more possession. We've definitely had more shots, but we've only had one on target and we've had more corners. So to be fair, my assessment of the half is that, it's been crap. The quality's been very poor. It's not been a good game of football. I'd certainly agree with that. However, in a low quality early game, which tends to happen a lot, I've always said this, 12:30 kickoffs are never... It's almost like the body clocks of the players just aren't quite right. We've done okay, but we're not winning the game at the moment. And I do worry about the second half a little bit because I think naturally Leeds playing on Thursday night, we're going to be a little bit lethargic. And we, with the bench we've got, had to be a little bit more intense because I think in the second half, and it might not happen and hopefully it won't do, but in the second half, you have to make subs in the Premier League. Leeds have got a better bench than us. So I think the second half, you might see a bit of a drop-off from United and a bit of a drop-up, a level up from Leeds, so to speak. If anybody deserved to be winning, I think that's a big statement to say that we deserve to be in front, but we've probably been marginally the better side. A bit unlucky with the Cunha goal. Having said that, Calvert-Lewin did hit the post. But it's got a draw written all over it at the moment. And it's hard to see what we can do off the bench. I mean, look, Xerxes might bring something, but he doesn't look very happy at the moment. But look, I'm not impressed by the quality, but the application's slightly better. Leeds maybe a little bit tired. I think I've got to say I was expecting a little bit more from Leeds because it's United at Ellen Road. They've not been as intense as they were at Anfield, but that was only on Thursday night. But so far, I think we have to win the game. I know somebody in the chat said a draw would be a good result. I don't think a draw would be a good result. I don't agree with that. I think it's you draw against Wolves, you've got to beat Leeds, and who are we going to have back for the Burnley game? So if we're going to have to pick this 11 again, what's our energy levels going to be like against Burnley on Wednesday? And that's an away game. So I think we've got to start taking the opportunities that are in front of us. I mean, look, league table at the moment, you've got United in 5th with that 1 point. That will probably keep us in 5th. Because I don't think Chelsea will get anything at Sunderland. Sorry, Chelsea won't get anything at Man City. Sunderland, I think, are... Who was Sunderland playing today? I didn't think they would win. Sunderland at Spurs, I don't think they'll win there. Everton at home to Brentford might win. I mean, I'd be worried if Everton were going ahead of us. So look, a point in the context of the league will still have people going, we're only 3 points off this, that and the other. But these are... I don't look at the league table like that, because when we play Man City and Arsenal back to back, Chelsea and Liverpool might have easy games. Sunderland might have easy games. So when they've got difficult games, we need to take advantage. So I think this game, if I was Ruben Amorim, I'd be saying, look, this game is there to be won. We're going to have to work really hard in the second half. I'm reliant on you. You're the senior players I have. You've done reasonably well in the first half. We need the 3 points. Let's step it up. Let's put the work in and get 3 points because they're certainly there to be taken at the moment. I've not been that impressed with Leeds, to be honest. Standout players for me. Look, I think Dorgu's looked lively. Cunha's looked lively. Sesko's been okay. Casemiro and Agate, we've sort of got away with it. They're not really causing us any problems. Safety in numbers at the back. I think Martinez, Heaven and Yoro as a 3. You'd expect them to be solid, and they have been. Delo, I mean, whatever, average at best. And Luke Shaw, some good, some bad. But I think that's the big problem with this team. You look at I would always say the midfield is where you need to invest. But I'll put my hand up and say, some of you have said it, and you're right. Yes, the midfield definitely needs investment. But in a 3-4-3, you look at the wide players. I mean, that's pitiful. Delo and Luke Shaw. When you think about, and I'm not asking for Mendes and Hakimi, but even Livramento and Hall. That's such a fundamental part of our system that people miss. You can see how 3 centre-backs can make you quite solid. You can see that the midfield is a problem. But imagine if you had 2 wide players that actually gave you something. And we don't scrutinise that enough, because Delo and Luke Shaw have been okay, but they're not offering anything going forward. There's no energy. They're not particularly good at the back. But, I mean, that's 2 positions. It's not. You could have a good left wing-back and an okay right wing-back, but we've got 2 very limited players there. So we can talk about the midfield, but that's a huge area as well. And I think that the 2 issues that I would say that Amorim has not been backed on, because people say Amorim's been backed because he's had a couple of number 10s and a striker. But in a 3-4-3, the 2 areas of the pitch that are absolutely essential is midfield, but more so the wide players. In a 3-4-3, the wide players are fusion players. They're not wing backs and they're not wingers. They're fusion players. And he's had Dorgu, who was a kid at 20. So I think that area of the pitch, you can see it in a game like this, really poor. Really poor. Not good enough. Not enough pace, not enough intensity, not enough energy, not enough creativity. Those players should be supplementary wingers. Look, it's never going to happen because I'm talking about 2 of the best in the world. But if you had Hakimi or Denzel Dumfries on the right, and you had Mendes or, I don't know, even a Grimaldo on the left, you'd instantly see a massive improvement in what we can do. Who wins the league first? Villa, Man United or Chelsea? I'd say Chelsea, Jordan. We need to be a bit more clinical in the final third. Sesko needs to make more demanding the ball to be played into him. I think we could win this, says PJ. I agree. Jesus loves you, Mark, and he died for you, says Jesus is Lord. Thank you, pal. Over for Amorim if he doesn't get top 4, says Flats. No energy, no desire to win. I can't remember the last time I watched us play and was excited, says Biggest Ball Knowledge. Cunha looks like he's no one to play with him, says Stefan. And as it stands, of the bottom 10, we've drawn and lost to 8 of them, says Matthew. Mark my nan's just said Agate's been our best player this season, says Raid. What's the health situation with your gran? I mean, is it time to, move her into a home or something? That's a terrible take. I'd be worried. I'd be very worried about her. Tomorrow morning, get her down that doctor's. Luke Shaw runs like he's got a toe blowing up his arse, says Jonas. And Mark, even if we're not in the top 4, everything is okay because we'll have Beyonce in NU Stadium. Others clubs can't do that, says Iam. But you know what? Just on that very, very quickly, this obsession with buying, building a new stadium and then Beyonce can play there. Has anybody actually figured this out? Because Spurs have got a stadium that Beyonce can play at. Wembley is a stadium that Beyonce can play at. Birmingham City are building a stadium that Beyonce can play at. So that's 3 straight away. United would be number 4. What industry is not going to have many stadium musicians in 10 years' time? Music. We're building a stadium like there's going to be loads of acts that are going to play stadium tours. There isn't actually that many stadium tour musicians anymore. Music's dying on its arse. Has any elite club ever publicly declared there's no value in the January market season after season for 15 years, says Avi. Thank you very much. Talking about chocolate was more entertaining, says Mrs. Stone. Ref cam giving me motion sickness, says my house. It does me as well. I feel your pain. Set piece is the only way we're scoring, says James. It's not motion sickness, weird angles of players' faces, says Rajaf. Bring Rashi back, says Kyle. Sesko has held up and flicked the ball on well, says Diminish. This game is curing my insomnia, says Pengas. Just shows how disengaged the fans are. Poor style, says the UKA. There's nothing like the Fozcam, says DJ. And our finishing is awful. Don't they work on it in training, says Jonathan. I'm getting so sick of the long ball. Going to lose this, says Sam. Can you call my mate Tom a prat, says Bomb. You're a prat, Tom. And Mark, if the ownership changes, will you start your shows on time? Says I am. If that's all I've got to do to change the ownership, I will. Is Ollie Watkins better than Sesko in this team, says Sound Dog? He'd be more experienced in the Premier League, which makes him, more a better fit in the short term. In the long term, you hope that Sesko will be better. Mars, the closest thing to Uranus, says Big Jim. You've thought that through. Next season, the ref will be fully rigged, headcam, joysticks and a PS5 on the hip. They still won't have the technology to admit they've had a mare, says Andreas. And it's so draining to watch United. It's so slow and boring, says Stig. Most underrated recent United player, says Clips. I don't know why Herrera came to my mind. The ref himself hadn't been bad today, says Jonathan. Walnut Whip, says The Catch. And what about a full chocolate Santa, Mark? That would be a blast, says Tom. There we go. We're not going back down that road. Please do share the video if you're watching and make sure you subscribe. Thanks for all your super chats. I think I've caught up on those. We are only 100 subscribers away from 227,000. So please click bottom right hand corner, subscribe. Remember, we're live every night at 8 o'clock and we will be live at 8 o'clock tonight after all the match reactions, after all the fan forums, because I haven't had chance to get my teeth into the embargoed press section of what Amorim said yesterday. It was truly incredible. Amorim was asked about the 3-4-3 and why it won't work, and he said, I won't talk about it, but you're smart, so you should know. It's been also, he said that I have a feeling that if we have a perfect 3-4-3, we need to spend a lot of money and we need time. I'm starting to understand that that's not going to happen, so maybe I have to adapt. He said, I don't want to talk about, why I've got to adapt, but it's very clear that something has changed and he's been told something different by the director of football. So look, there's a lot going on and we'll talk about that at 8 o'clock tonight. I personally think Wilcox should be sacked. I think he's a crap director of football and he's a Leeds fan. No, I don't know whether he's a Leeds fan, but he's a crap director of football. Mark, if the ownership changes, I've done that one. Thank you very much. Grego, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. How do you watch this and not buy a midfielder, says Keanu. Bijol is Sesko's international teammate, says Rarin. You could get Watkins, Gyökeres, Haaland, and none will score. Who's giving them the crosses and the assists, says Mrs. Stone. I've seen enough place below at striker. He's a great finisher, says Phil. And I can see us play better. Where are we in the table? 15th. How many injuries? How many in Africa? I don't know what everybody expects of Amorim, says Frederick. I think you're going to get a lot. I think you're going to get a lot of answers to that question, mate. My answer would be that I don't see any progress, and I don't think we'll see any progress until we get some wing backs and midfielders in. And if they're not going to do that, then they should sack him. And if they can't afford midfielders, we're not going to be able to afford wing backs. So how are we ever going to make the system work? They clearly don't have the money to back him. So why did they get him in the first place? And I think that's what Amorim's saying. I haven't got wing backs. I haven't got midfielders. You're not buying me anyone in January. Why did you bring me here? And I think that's what he was basically saying. I'm clearly not going to get what I need. So I'm going to have to adapt. But, as I said, you don't get you don't employ a porn star, right, and turn up, and then you say, there's the lube, turn around, we haven't got any women, so you're going to have to adapt. You're going to be like, well, I don't do that sort of thing. You do now. Action. There are fans out there, and there are, media people out there that say Amorim should adapt. But I don't think he should. I don't think he should. He might have to, but I don't think he should, because that's not what we employed him for. As I said before the game, you don't get a plumber around to paint your garden. Paint your fence. So, look, he has to adapt because of the players that he's got. But why did we bring him in the first place if we weren't going to back him? That's the intelligent analysis. He himself is saying, I've got to adapt because they won't give me the players. But the people who are saying any good manager needs to adapt, bollocks. Does Pep Guardiola want to play counter-attacking park the bus football? No. He shouldn't have to adapt, but that's on the ownership. They're absolutely useless. Is it true Ugarte is going to Galatasaray? No, Amit, no. Sesko is a big noodle. If I had his stature, I'd have conquered Switzerland by now. System is set up so two fullbacks have the ball in danger areas, says Gareth. Will we make use of JJ Gabriel for the FA Cup, says AJ? I hope so. Island Boy says, my bum is exit only, but each to their own. And thank you very much for that, Island Boy. Oh, he's talking about the chocolate. Right, we're going back up. Mark, it's not just Beyonce, Ed Sheeran too. Arsenal can't do that even if they win the league. Sir Jim says, I am. Are you being serious with that take of Chelsea winning the Premier League before United and Villa? Our owners are worse than yours, genuinely. Absolute nonsense, Ray. That is the worst take of 2026. Chelsea owners might be bad, but you've spent £2 billion in the last 3 years. I'm sorry, that is absolute nonsense that Chelsea's owners are worse than Man United. Absolutely shite. I'm not having that. You have got strange ownership, but no way are your owners worse than ours. Absolutely not. No way. Timer's not on. Sorry, let me get that sorted. So, 45:24. Let's hit it there. There we go. Well, Leeds starting off with a bit of energy here. Oh, someone's on the back post and he's been tripped, but Heaven wins it. Right, let's see how we start this second half, because we did show some good intensity in that first half, but I feel like we don't really have a lot of options on the bench. Can we show intensity for 90 minutes? That's going to be the challenge here. And of course, we've got a game on Wednesday night. I can see Leeds starting the second half off faster, says DBX. Well, they can do, because they've got the bench. So if I was Fark, I'd say, give me 15 minutes and then we can make some changes. But we've got to keep the intensity up. They're going to get tired. Jared says West Ham owners are worst in the Prem. I think we've got the worst owners. Lovely play by Cunha. You can't go past 3. You rightly made points on Amorim needing backing for it to work when he came in. The club is now turning players, managers and fans into the worst version of themselves, says WGV. Maybe they can get Ollie Mers in the new stadium, says BRM. Oh, he won't fill it. That's lovely pace by Okafor past Yoro. But it's Heaven again. Who's there for the cover? I love the channel. Keep up the good work and get rid of the owners before the manager, says Ben. I miss the days we was winning trophies, but sadly don't see us winning anytime soon with Ruben in charge, says Eric. I think you need to substitute Ruben. It's not... the manager's not going to solve the problem here. It's the owners, pal. It's another chance for a long throw-in. Oh, don't let it bounce. God. Do not let it bounce. Right, Cunha's got a bit of space here. Into Sesko. I think Sesko might have been offside there. Ref said play on. Oh, God, nearly bloody fell over. Oh. I'm back, don't worry. Yoro got burnt for pace there. I mean, Show says he's got no pace. I think Yoro is quick. I don't think he's electric quick, but Okafor's fast. Cunha with space again. He tried something a little bit too clever there. I'll tell you what, this is going to kill Luke Shaw having to run backwards and forwards. I mean, look, if Luke Shaw can run back and forwards, he's probably the best left back we've got. I don't think he's great anymore, but I don't know whether his body's going to be able to deal with that. Last 5 years, and the United net spend is higher than Chelsea, says Zen. Owners are bad, but yeah, but it's about what you spend it on. You've bought Caicedo, you've bought Enzo Fernandez, you bought Cole Palmer. We bought Jadon Sancho. Our owners are worse than yours. Owners are bad, but Ruben doesn't help himself, so SOS. Keeping him because the manager will fail is like keeping dirty pants because the next pair will get dirty. Le Mans goes long. Offside Sesko. You definitely want to score first in a game like this. Dom says, at least Chelsea owners give fans a degree of hope. Oh, I think Chelsea do stupid things, but they're, you know, but it's exciting stupid. United don't do things. Thanks for all the super chats, by the way. You can do that through the $sign. It's still 0-0 here. Yoro was quick across there, and he needed to be. I think the longer this game goes on, the more I get concerned about us actually getting a win. I don't see anything on the bench, bar Xerxes, and he's surely going to have to make subs, unless, I mean, look, we played a lot of games. Is this a corner or a throw-in? Jack says Sesko's been great today. I wouldn't say great, mate. I mean, we're drawing 0-0 in what's been quite a dull game. He's done okay. It's a throw-in. It's a long throw-in. Ooh, corner. Went for a volley on the near post. I think it might have been Heaven, actually, who got in the way. Mark, I can't send long messages. Why, says Mohammed. I don't know. Never heard of that. I don't think that was actually going in. Right, corner. We've got to defend these well. Stack on it. Good corner. Headed away by Casemiro. Oh, well, Agate here. Got to use Dorgu. Got to use Dorgu. And composure, composure, composure. It's Agate with the shot. It's not the player you want with the shot there. It's a good breakaway, but Agate's not going to be the guy there. I mean, Dorgu does well here, but it comes back to Agate. Now, he needs to be passing here. But there's not really anyone to pass to. He should have gone to Luke Shaw. Are we creating space for fullbacks or opposition? Let them have the ball because they are weak, says Gareth. Loving the Liverpool downfall, but we need to sign players. People with experience, and Delo out the club. He's useless, says Eric. Do the smart thing. Buy a washing machine. Clean your jeans. Get rid of the owners, not Ruben, says Daryl. It's like hiring a barber to shave your hair, says Fraz. I'm not saying anything. As I say, I think if there's a goal in this, the first goal gets you the win. How's the wall, says Kieran? It hasn't fell in a while. It won't fall now. It's got screws in it. It was just propped up before because I'm an idiot. Go on, Cunha. He's played on. Cunha into the box. Cunha into the box. Oh, it's still there. Luke Shaw, whip it. First time. Back post, Casemiro. Oh, Sesko, you better be bloody offside there, mate. That is shit. He's got to score that. Mate, if you're onside there, fucking hell. He's got to score that. How's he missed that? Nah, he's offside anyway. He was offside, but that he didn't know. He didn't know. He was offside. It doesn't matter, but he should still score it. Amorim at Chelsea, Maresca at United. Who does better, says Benjo. Don't know. About as much composer as a giraffe with Parkinson's on roller skates, says Dom. And a win might cover the recent cracks that have been showing. I want to win, though, says Tom. Long messages won't send because of blocked words, says Keel. And Jonathan says our finishing is rubbish all over the pitch. Thanks for your super chat, Jonathan. Okafor is burning Yoro, isn't he? Okafor is absolutely burning Yoro. He just gets past him every time. It's a good recovery tackle, but look, this is just very basic. Look, into the feet of Okafor, stands him up, knocks it past him, away we go, and he has to do a last-ditch tackle. Well, he doesn't. He gets a last-ditch sort of block on the cross, but he's giving him a torrid time. Daniel, thanks for your super chat. Another corner for Leeds. Just feel like Leeds are getting a little bit ahead of themselves with set pieces, and Lemens just palms that out. Why is Delo so bad and mediocre? And Jonathan says, I'll say it again, our finishing is horrid. Thanks for your super chat. Yeah, I'm just getting a little bit concerned here about the volume of set pieces, corners that Leeds are winning, which means they're getting up towards our end a lot. This will be their fourth corner. The momentum has shifted a little bit in the first 10 minutes. Sign some fucking players, says Ryan. Get rid of ref cam. I don't want to look at it. It makes me want to throw up. Ref cam is shit. Hand away by Luke Shaw. We need the second ball here. Get Euro off and get Obi on, says Quinn. I don't think Obi's even on the bench. I didn't see him earlier on. No, Obi's not even on the bench. Cunha's just dive-bombed the Leeds bench here. I want to sign for Leeds. Not the Leeds bench. I think it's the... Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He's all right. So Obi is on the bench. He's not. Definitely not. I mean, I'm using the BBC website, and they have not listed him on the bench. You've got Binder, Fletcher, Fredrickson, Kokonki, Lacey, Malacia, Mantato, Xerxes. Garte looks better, benefiting from a run of games, says Steve. I mean, he's been okay, mate, but he's been okay. We need Maguire back. No, we need De Ligt back, Sean. I'm happy with Heaven and Martinez, but I think De Ligt, you know, we do miss him. A lot of people saying that Cunha should have had a red card. I didn't see anything there. Who's the captain today? Well, I presume it's Martinez. Yeah, Martinez is the captain today. Need another Dorgu screamer here, says the Recon guy. Everyone moaned about Rasmus, but Sesko is absolutely shocking, says Glenn. Our bench is a sign that we need to recruit for depth in the January window, says Plan. We need Mbermo back, says Maz. Brian says, I think the game might end in a draw. I did predict a draw on Premier League predictions, but I feel if there's going to be a goal, the team that scores first is going to win. Leeds are definitely keeping us up in our own half a lot this half. I'm slowly getting annoyed with Sesko. Where's Obi, says Michael. Why are Leeds more intense and more exciting to watch? I know it's not a great game, but they seem to have a bit of passion at least. It's since half-time, Slaith. First half, I thought we were... Unfortunately, sometimes you can predict a game, and I did say this. Leeds played Thursday. We've got a crap bench. I think we gave a lot in the first half, and I think Leeds have got more energy in the second half, and it's playing out like that at the moment. It's a bit worrying because... this is where you'd like to make some subs, and we can't because we've got nothing there. One day we'll actually spend 70 million on a 75 on a decent striker. This is a game of two bottom half sides, says Glenn. Yeah, I mean, that's a great assessment, Glenn. I mean, we are playing a team that's desperate to stay up, and I think they've got a good chance of staying up, but they are a relegation side, you know, and so were Wolves, and so are Burnley. So these are games that if you want to be in the Champions League, we've got Wolves, Leeds, Burnley. We should be taking 9 points. If you're Chelsea or Liverpool, you'd be expecting to take 9 points. Now, look, of course, Liverpool drew twice to Leeds. And Chelsea lost to Leeds. But, you know, that's why these games are an opportunity for us to take advantage of that. They're getting a lot. They're getting very intense here, aren't they, Leeds? They're getting the tackles in. They're getting the crowd up. Looks like Fletcher's coming on. Another draw will get him sacked, in your opinion, says Mark. No, you don't. He ain't getting sacked if we lose. Have you seen a worse United bench, says Real Life? Spurs last year? Was it Spurs last year where we had all the kids on the bench? It happens quite regularly now because we haven't built a squad. Thomas, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Imagine what a furious Rooney shouting at the ref would have looked like from the ref cam. Frightening. What? What's going on? How's that gone in? I'm not even looking. What happened? How is it a goal? What the fuck's happened? I'm reading a bloody super chat on a pass back and they fucking scored. What? 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 I don't even know. I don't even know. He's running away celebrating. The last thing I saw was a pass back. What the bloody hell's going on? What's going on? What the fuck is going on? I don't even know. I can't give you any commentary because I don't know. I can just see Leeds players kissing each other. I tell you what, that Toblerone up the arse sounds good now. This is painful. What the hell's going on? Delo with a misplaced pass. It goes through. Oh, fucking hell. What are we doing at the back? So basically, the pass back that's gone through, Aronson's just ran through quicker than heaven. And, it's shut. That is just shit defending, that is. Absolutely shit. I tell you what, Delo is crap. Absolute crap. And if anyone ever tries to defend Delo again, it's him in the build-up playing another shit pass. I mean, look, that's a problem now. That's a massive problem. I'm absolutely stunned that we can... You know what? I genuinely went, oh, the ball's going to go back to Lamens. I'll have a look at the live chat. And then I see him running away to the corner celebrating. I'm like, what's going on? I don't even understand it. Xerxes on. Can we liquidate the club? Team full of bums, says Mr. Whelan. This team is shocking. No one deserves a place in this team, says Lee. Not his fault, but if we lose, he's being sacked, says Quinster. I mean, I don't think he will. Sack the board. Oh dear, says Thomas. Xerxes into Cunha. He might score. Oh, he has! He has! 1-1. Come on. Get in. Absolutely brilliant. He has been the best player on the pitch for us today. Lovely ball by Xerxes. Instant impact reply. Cunha with the equaliser. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it's Xerxes with the instant impact. I don't even know who he came on for. Xerxes into Cunha. Lovely little run. I told you their keeper's shit. He doesn't even need to be there. Goal. Lovely goal. 1-1. Mixed emotions here. You go from like, what is going on? 1-1. Right, back to the drawing board. Let's go back to where we were and try and build on this now. The game's come alive. I tell you what, you need to equalise really quickly because I think if Leeds have had 5 or 10 minutes of leading. Xerxes, look at Xerxes. Run around more in the last 2 minutes than he did in the last 2 games. Xerxes for Yoro, we've gone to a 4-4-2. Well, we have gone to a 4-4-2, but he came on for Yoro. Thank you, Recon Guy. We're playing a 4-4-2. Xerxes for Yoro, says Arhan. How would you feel if Ahmad started ahead of you, says Jordan. This is why we need a midfield, says Ross. Sesko's playing with clogs on, says Plum. And Yoro off first again over Shaw and the other crap, says Jaden. Delo wants sacking, says It's Me. We could win 10-0 and Sesko won't score, says WWE. He'll give Delo the captaincy next game, says 1 Inch Wonder. That's not on Delo, Mark. No way. All on Heaven, says Castle. Of course it's on fucking Delo. He loses the ball. If you don't lose the ball, they don't play a ball in behind Heaven. Heaven's got to do a little bit better, but the ball's gone in behind him. Delo loses the ball because he's crap. So we can do it without Bruno, says Henrik. And a lot of people underestimate Xerxes. I think Xerxes' head had gone in the last 2 games. If he realises he's staying now, then, you know, hopefully he can give us something off the bench here. He's certainly got an assist. Dante says Xerxes the only player that can put a pass through the defence lines. We need another striker, midfielders and wingers, says Dante. And what other manager that doesn't have his head up his arse would ever come to United if Amorim got sacked, says Kenneth. Instant impact because we want 4-3-3 shock, says N'Golo. 4-4-2 and look how easy that was, says D. Amorim job masterclass, says John. 4-4-2 now and we score, says Phil. Club that refuses to invest in a midfield never controls the midfield regardless of the opposition, says Abby. Sesko plays like a taller Cheeto, says Old Trafford. And if Leeds win today and Everton, Sunderland and Palace win, we will drop a lot. If we draw next and Arsenal City beat us, we are like 16th again probably, says Philip. Do you think Amorim has some kind of restrictions over him? He knows we need a midfielder, but he hasn't got one for now, says PTSD. And Legendary says, never mind agendas against Delo, there's agendas blindly supporting Delo. After 10 seconds of a back four, we score, says Jensen. Rushed home from lunch with my fiancée to put the telly on, and it's Delo long throw. Fiancée is upset because we're drawing and rushed lunch. A shout out to my fiancée will be great, says Darren. There we go. Look, I think it looks like we have gone to a back four, and the players will be more suitable to it. However, I don't think a back four is going to solve the problems people think it's going to be. I still think that the midfield is going to be problematic, and I still think that we won't have enough good players. But I think when you're losing the game, you can't play with 3 at the back. So he's made the change, and I think that's an intelligent substitution and tactical switch. You can't play 3 at the back when you're losing 1-0 with half an hour to go. So he's got to make those tactical switches, and I applaud that. And do the players suit it better? Yes, but is he a back four manager? No. So it's sort of like, why did we recruit him? Leeds, big save, Le Mans. Wasn't enough power on it, but it's a big save. Kent says, scoring within a minute of a formation change. Amorim can't hide anymore. Ash says Sesko's crap. That was Okafor with an overhead kick. Le Mans was always going to save it, but he needed to save it. Sesko is literally doing 50% of the hold-up play to get off his back when you're serving one ball throughout the match, and he's taking care of the first ball. Bit of a Sesko debate going on. Another long throw for Leeds. I want a win, but to get back in the game from 1-0 down, I'm very happy. What's the chance Onana saves that, Mark, says Dom. I don't know how Leeds didn't get a corner there, by the way, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Micho says, I love Heaven, but you can't expect two youngsters to not make any mistakes. Oh, mate, I completely agree with this. This is why I think Heaven's played really well today. He makes a mistake. There seems to be an inability to compute in our ownership that young players will make mistakes in a fan base that can't be patient. So Heaven will keep making mistakes. He'll make good tackles, he'll make mistakes until he's about 23. So we've got 5 years of that. Yoro will keep doing it as well. That's what young players do. They're not going to be perfect. So you can't... This is why I don't think United's strategy of young talent is going to work, because we haven't got the patience for it. He will make mistakes. He will also do good things as well. Good interception by Martinez. The game's starting to stretch now. Cunha, it's a lovely ball, but it's not going to get through to Dorgu. 20 minutes to go. If we start winning with 4 at the back, does it not make sense to sack Amorim and get a manager in comfortable with that formation? Yeah, Alec, if we're going to play a back 4, I don't think Amorim should be the manager, because he's not a back 4 manager. That's the point, isn't it? And this is why you've got to criticise Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, Sir Jim Radcliffe, because you have got a 3-4-3 manager and you're playing a, everybody wants a back 4. That's the whole point. Xerxes cooking Delo, cooking, dare I say, we back, says KY. We've got to be careful here because Delo's out of position. Delo looks knackered, doesn't he? Well played, Casemiro. Man Utd Mount have minor knocks, out for several games. I'd hate to see what a big injury is. I wonder if Mount Martinez counted as a knock as well, says Sean. Lupus says, scoring after formation change is not impressive nor representative of the new formation. The opponent simply hasn't had time to adapt, says Lupus. Lines like that toe blowing up your arse sounds good now is something you'll never hear on Sky. Keep up the good work, Mark, says Martin. And if we start winning with 4 at the back, does it not make sense to sack Amorim and get a manager in? We've done that one from Alec. We'll be lucky if we get top 6, in my opinion, says Jack. Mark, I need your opinion quick because it's cold. What about the chocolate wedding sculpture, says Tom. Oh. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Please do subscribe. We're very close to 227,000. I've been told we're only 85 away now, so please do subscribe. Remember, we're live every night at 8 o'clock. Every morning at 10 o'clock. And we have the match reaction after this where you can do your player ratings. But there's loads of space for Cunha here. Cut inside into... Oh, Xerxes got loads of time. And he's fucking missed again. All I'm going to say is no wonder Amorim wanted Watkins. When you play like we do, you can't have a learner driver up front. This is why he wanted Watkins. He wanted somebody who just takes the chance. You can't. There's too many fucking learner drivers in this team. Project Pratt with Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada. That chance there is 2-1, 3 points. We move on. When was the last time you saw Sesko run at the defenders? I'm a big advocate for giving players time, but he's really bad, says Jack. Xerxes better than Sesko, says Ash. This is why you need a backup striker, says John. But this is why Amorim wanted Watkins. It literally is. Still a 3-4-3, not a back forward. The lows at right centre-back, says Ben. This game, we could win this game. We've got literally no control. It's just chaos. That's what I mean. It plays into our hands because we're used to basketball. We're used to that, Glenn. Getting a bit hot in here. Can't get the temperature right in this room. Good play by Cunha. Go on, Xerxes. This is where he's going to be good. Goes for Sesko. He's put too much on that, to be fair. Good run by Sesko, but too much on it by Xerxes. Ooh, Dorgu's on a yellow. Got to be careful. That wouldn't be a second yellow, that. I want Sesko to succeed so badly, but he needs to improve. You don't get many chances in that team. You need to take them. Xerxes look good, though, says Sean. Well played, Delo. Goal kick. Is it me or is Cunha in Sesko's body language off, says Brads. I think Sesko looks like a player that, well, he's a young player who's lacking confidence, 100%, yeah. The only constant over the last 13 years of failure is the Glazers. All the variables of players, managers, formations have been tried. Thanks, Christopher, for your super chat. See a lot of potential in Sesko, but we need goals, says Francis. Yeah, he looks like the sort of player that if he gets a goal, he'd have confidence, wouldn't he? But there's a ball on all the time. That's going to be a goal kick. Still got time here. Here we go though. Leeds are going to make some subs now. Nonto and Tanaka. I've given him enough time. Sesko is a fraud, says Dan. I miss Rasmus. Thanks for your super chats. Agate low-key has played a good game, says Dante. Happy New Year, Mark. Can you say hi to my granddaughter, Freya? Hello to Freya. That's Rocco with the super chat. Happy New Year. Hope you're having a good time. Vardy for one season instead of Sesko, says Slater. God, I thought that keeper's so slow off the line. I thought Sesko was going to get there for a minute. Get the winner, surely. Get your chocolate ready, says Radcliffe. Agate has had a good game, says Dante. That ball over the top is on. It's such a shame we haven't got another striker. I think striker is as vital. Well, you know what, Alec? I've said this for a long time. We need a backup striker. Good turn by Xerxes. Bit of a soft foul that for Leeds. Amorim used 4-4-2 in his first game at Casa. He changed it to 3-4-3 when it didn't work. Can he realise the 3-4-3 doesn't work at United and change it to a 4-3-3? So Leeds, fresh legs that we just don't have. Quackwood says, I think Sesko and Xerxes have been working well together. Remember, Leeds haven't lost the game in their last 9. That's what we're up against here in the next 10 minutes. If Wilcox took over as CEO of Red Bull Racing, he'd hire a learner driver to replace Verstappen, says J35. Hitton says, it's clear Amorim is cornered into playing 4 at the back because 6 plus first team players are out and he doesn't have the right alternatives. Problem is, he's giving up. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Xerxes coming on has opened up our attack, says Ryan. Sesko is young with no space to develop, needs time. Well, how many times have we said that, Esev? You know, we keep buying learner drivers in a team that isn't suitable for nurturing. 6 months is enough time. Some people are dumb, says Vandit. Hi Mark, hope you and the family had a lovely Christmas and New Year. All the best, says David. You too, pal. Thanks for your super chat. Be even better if we can find a winner here. He's got to go wide, Xerxes. He's got to go wide. Dorgu's got a lot of space. He's got to lay that back to Cunha. Oh, he's at the foot of the post. That's the perfect. You know, as soon as I saw Cunha there, I was like, he's not cutting it back to Agate, and it wasn't far off. I think there was a corner on this, wasn't there? No. I think we need to give Sesko time. He's nervous. He does look very nervous. United 777. Xerxes looks levels above everybody else today, says Lander. That's because he's putting the effort in. I think against Newcastle and Wolves, he just didn't look like he wanted to be here. He's probably realised that he's staying now, and he's putting the shift in. Luke Shaw, 90 minutes at left back. What has he done? Do you think it really is Luke Shaw? Do you think it's it's like not AI, but like really advanced prosthetics? Do you think we've got a left back in that's a ringer that we've just got a Luke Shaw face on it? Because how is he playing without injury at left back for 5 months? Would you still take Harry Kane, even if it was only for a couple of seasons? Well, I mean, obviously I would take Harry Kane, Ethan. I think he's a brilliant player. Pengas says, these players overhit so many balls to runners. That's where Bruno is missed. He'd hit twice as many, but would also find just 1 or 2 great ones. Get Viduka in, says 1 Inch Wonder. How would you describe this game in 1 word? Yes, I am thinking about the title, if it's a draw. How would you describe this game in 1 word? I don't think it's a good point. I'm not having that. It's not a good point. It's not good to take 2 points from 6 against Wolves and Leeds. Shaw and Delo need to retire, says Sergio. Random question, Mark. Do you reckon City will thrash Chelsea, says Isaac? I think it could be like 3 or 4-0, yeah. Midfield aside, if more of our players could play a ball to their teammate like Xerxes would be so much better, says Mandolin. No, well, if you could get the ball into Cunha more. Same assessment, Mandolin, yeah. Leo says, why is nobody talking about our bench? They're all second team players. We've become a bottom half table team. Well, mate, I think we are talking about the bench all the time because we're saying it's incredible that we're not signing players in January when, we absolutely need to. Leeds are on the attack here. Just get rid of it, Heaven. Go on, Xerxes. I just boot that. Boot it. Oh, that's lovely by Martinez into Cunha. Why has nobody done that one? Thank you very much. L Plate FC by Wilcox and Barada, great title. How can you look at our bench and think we don't need anyone in January? Says Dirty Deeds, I know. Is Xerxes a man playing for a move? Says XV. I don't think he's going to get a move. Oh, unlucky Dorgu. I think Dorgu's done okay. I wouldn't say he's like man of the match, but I think he's done You know, I'd give him like a 6.5. Jeff says, if we change managers, I pray all the Amorim signings aren't pointless. These managers all doing work that truly flattered Ollie's record. Love or hate Amorim with a seasoned striker taking some of the easy chances in this match, and the last would have eased the burden on everyone. Still 5 minutes to go. One word chocolate, says JD. Tell you what worries me about the Burnley game. We've had a lot of players that normally you'd bring them off. Not even because they played badly, but just from pure stamina. Like Lisandro Martinez just coming back from injury, 90 minutes. Agate and Casemiro playing in the midfield, 90 minutes. Luke Shaw playing at left wing back, 90 minutes. So what? I tell you what, I think the ref's had a good game. He's definitely let a lot of things. I don't know whether he watches That's Football, but he's definitely let a lot. You know, it's very rare for me to say that a referee's had a good game, but I do think the referee has had a good game. Sip, thank you. Welcome to Members Club. Xerxes been great since he came on, says Evan. Amorim's a young manager. Can't expect him to be flawless. Why is it unheard of that he could change his system in his career? But that's the point, Bear. Why have we got to learn a driver in charge of Man United? Sesko is the worst striker we've ever had. Awful, says Jonathan. That's going to open it up. The best version of this football is still horrible, says Hader. Why don't you start a count on Cameo, says KDB. And we're frightened of fourth place. Every chance we get, we avoid it, says Niki. Arteta won an FA Cup with the worst back three ever. All on the manager. Sure is better than Maitland-Niles, says User. Game feels very clunky, says Slaith. And Ratcliffe David says, Amorim and Bonnie Blue both like 5 at the back. Oh, I get it. I get it. Fergie time winner coming in, says Francis. Look, I think everybody who predicted a United loss, don't forget to do your player ratings. Scan the QR code, get yourself registered for free. Every player out of 10, 6 being the average star for your man of the match. Got the player ratings, match reaction straight after this. I predicted a draw. I didn't think we'd lose the game. And obviously, there are still 5 minutes left to lose the game. But I just think that any game where people go, oh, we'll definitely lose that. Villa away, Liverpool away. I know we did lose to Villa, but it wasn't a terrible performance. We did turn up. And Leeds away, they're unbeaten in ages. They've just got a point at Anfield. I think a lot of people are, oh, they're going to beat us. I think Leeds have struggled. I'd be very surprised if Farke doesn't say, we really did struggle because we played on Thursday. And that's a fair assessment. Oh, here we go. I've ruined it. Leeds are on the attack. Be very careful. Just over the bar. I'd have been eating shit there if they'd have scored. But I actually don't think we've looked in trouble that much, although we were there. Ref's not English and he's letting the game flow, says Blake. If we sort midfield, that would help the pride. That would be, would your pride? Sorry, Happy Gamer says, if we sort midfield, what would your priority be? We do need an experienced striker, Happy, but I think we also need to sort the wing backs out in a system like this. Long throw-in coming in for Leeds, 89th minute. Let's just calm for a moment. Win the first ball. Take your time. Where's the second? Oh, he's giving a foul. Don't worry about that. When Bruno is back, think Sesko needs to be taken out. Cunha, Bruno and Mbeumo interchange. Take Sesko out the firing line for a bit, says CVP. I've personally said play Mbeumo as a striker because he's quick. Lacey is the most dangerous player in the squad after Cunha. He can create something out of nothing. Why does he refuse to put him on, says Vald? Because he probably doesn't even think he's ready. Are you bringing anyone else on, says Dirty Deeds? I very much doubt it. Ref's not English in the game flow. Thank you. Come on, United. Might be a chance to break here. Dorgu should have passed there. Dorgu should have passed there. So Sesko's the worst striker. Even Rasmus was better. What's happened here? Corner. Oh, he's trying to get a handball. Fucking hell. Don't do this. I don't think they're going to review that, but his hand's up. Four minutes added on. No penalty. Not given. Fucking hell, we don't want that. We don't deserve that. Headed away. I think last few minutes we've looked very tired, haven't we? Not been able to bring subs on. Fucking hell, it's bouncing around. We haven't really looked. Leeds have obviously made some subs. Might get a break here, though. Nonto makes a mistake. There's not really anybody breaking forward for Cunha. He's going to have to go backwards. Yeah, we've looked really tired here. Can't even beat a championship team, says Glenn. People forget we had Falcao. He was 10 times worse, says Darth. Play to the whistle. Shaw. Going to be a long throw. Delo's come over. He's kissed the ball. This is it. This is the Delo redemption. Long throw in. It's going to happen. It's going to happen here. A long throw in from Delo. It's a good one. And they've cleared it away, as they always do. Long throw in with 2 minutes to go. He's done well there, Nonto. I think Nonto's a good player. I think he just struggles in the Premier League with a lack of... Oh, God, not Okafor. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Still feel like we might get a chance. Oh, not like that. Tanaka's tackled Cunha. We've got to be careful. This game is chaos. Like, where's the discipline? Ref! He's letting it flow. Come on, Xerxes. It's like a game of basketball, but nobody can score a hoop. It's really like end to end. You still feel with like 40 seconds, there could still be something going on. It's Leeds. Delo clears it away. Not very well. Over the bar. That's probably going to be it. It is. It has. I'll tell you what, the referee's played his part in letting the game go. But it has been chaos ball. It really has. And it looks like it's going to end with a draw. And I don't know. Look, give me your player ratings. Get ready for the match reaction. It's not quite over yet. Leeds on the attack. Oh, fucking hell. Don't do something stupid. Just get rid of it. Casemiro goes long. Ball's gone out. What are your thoughts, everybody? I think the match reaction is going to be very easy. What are your thoughts? Another point. It's not a loss. But apart from the equaliser, we've not really done anything, have we? And that's it. Final whistle. I've just tweeted Wilcox out. The bench is a joke. The squad's a joke. The balance in the team's a joke. Relying on kids. Sesko's not ready. You know, the balance of the team is absolutely rubbish. Not having subs doesn't help us as well. The whole plan is just incredibly shit. And that's what you get. You deliver shit, you serve up shit. Here we are in the middle of the season, terrified of fourth place again, dropping points again. 2 points from Wolves and Leeds. And I really did look at Wolves and Burnley and go, Wolves, Burnley, Leeds, 9 points has to be. Well, the maximum we can get is 5 if we beat Burnley on Wednesday, which is, there's no guarantee of that. Most of these lads have played 90 minutes. Is anybody going to be back on Wednesday? If you're Burnley, you're rubbing your hands, aren't you? You're going, here we go. They played yesterday, Burnley. They've had an extra day. So, Cunha, bright spark. Xerxes, bright spark. Thought Heaven played well apart from the mistake. Dorgu was decent. Agate was okay. But, it's not a loss, is it? Anyway, do your player ratings. I'll see you over on the match reaction in a minute. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you've subscribed, and I'll speak to you over there in a minute. Thanks for watching. I want to talk about Sesko as well, because that needs to be spoken about.